Hi and welcome back to Bike Speeds. So this week we thought we'd actually show you one of our bread and butter type jobs. So this is a Trek road bike that we've got in for service and a chain waxing. So we need to take the drivetrain off of this bike and clean up all the original grease, replace the chain with a nice fresh wax chain on the nice clean group set. And this is sort of the work we're doing day in, day out at Bike Speeds, and we'll just show you our thought processes along the way. So we noticed on this cassette there was a few little nicks and marks. The chain that was on there was almost 100% stretched out. It had worn that cassette as well. So we decided we would replace the cassette and the chain along, with servicing the bike and going right through it. Now, because this is sort of a daily bike, there's no need to replace all the cables. They're all okay. Everything's shifting as it is. We've got this old derailleur here. The customer actually asked us to replace that with a more modern generation of front derailleur. This was I think a part that he put on this bike at some part in the past and wanted that just upgrading, so we had a new front derailleur to go on it. And you can see we're just taking the part of the bike, taking all the components off. We had a little issue here with the rear brake. This is quite common on rear brakes where they actuate okay but they don't release because they build up with debris and they're moving at a very, very small amount each brake. If you ever look at your brake, it's literally only shifting 2 or 3 or 4 millimeters each side of open and close. So we'll address that as well, and you can see how gunked up this thumb adjuster is. You can just make it where you can't adjust your brakes on the move and on the fly and do all your routine adjustments. So we're going to clean up those thumb adjusters as well, and like I say, we're just getting everything off, and we just sort of, we take all the main necessary components off for this type of service, so we can then fill things like the bottom bracket bearings and the wheel bearings and the headset bearings. We'll fill those through as well. We had a little seizure here on the thumb adjuster on the rear derailleur, so I just removed that. So we'll then get everything through the ultrasonic cleaner, get all that old oil and debris and grittiness off the bike. Then we wash everything down once. We never put the pedals through the ultrasonic cleaner. They didn't need bearings, they're nice pedals, so we left them on the arms. We washed the arms down out of the ultrasonic cleaner, but actually put the chain rings in the ultrasonic cleaner to get the grease off those, which is what we're now washing down. So all in all, the chain set then becomes nice and fresh and clean. And then once we bolt it all back together, we torque all the bolts to make sure they're the correct specifications for the bike, because you can get an odd one that's coming loose. If you're talking right through the bike, you know that everything is as it should be to the correct tolerances and specifications. So you can see here we're just washing down all the parts now. These have all the nuts and bolts and things all gone through the ultrasonic cleaner. We're cleaning up the jockey wheels. One of these had been through the ultrasonic cleaner, and the other actually we did by hand because it had a bearing in it. So again, we didn't want to pull the grease out of that, so we're just cleaning those up, re-greasing them. They've got premium grease in there, nice grease, a little bit lock thread on the derailleur itself where these little bolts go through. So we sort of, we're sympathetically looking at each part, weighing up what's wrong with it. Like, for example, this thumb adjuster on the rear derailleur was a little bit stuck, and so we sort of, we free up the problems, we lubricate each part, we decide which greases and oils are the best for that part, and gradually as you work your way through the bike, everything becomes nice. Even on an old bike that you may think, that's past its sell by date, once you've cleaned and lubricated and parts work. The one thing about bike parts is they do tens of thousands of miles without needing replacing. If they're just serviced regularly, cleaned up regularly, lubricated regularly, your bike can last an awful lot longer than if you just ride it into the ground. So we're just popping this all back together now. Then we had a new chain here which we've actually degreased as well. That's gone into the chain wax. We're using molten speed wax here, so that goes into the molten wax. Then we allow it to cool down, everything to cool, and so that wax works its way into the rollers and then break down that wax there. Then we molten speed powder the chain. We also do the cassette at the same time. It just gives it a finish to waxing. I just love to use the molten speed powder. It just is a finishing touch that really makes the process a complete process. Now we're just cleaning up the wheel. You can see there the hub itself, we're just cleaning that up, getting all the grease and debris out, which can work through the seals and eventually damage the bearings. So by cleaning that off, you're extending the life of that component in itself. Cleaning the rim up, I just like that tactile feel of washing the wheel down and checking it. I can check that all the spokes are okay, and I can feel the wheel bearings are okay, feel the hub bearings are okay. So by doing this with the wheel, there's more to it than just putting a cassette on and sticking a skewer through. You know, the skewer's all been lubricated, the wheel has all been checked over, everything's perfect. So now I'm just washing down the frame. Again, this gives me a chance to fill those bottom bracket bearings, to clean up things like these thumb adjusters on these cables, because like I say, the cables are absolutely fine on this bike, there was no need to replace them, but a little bit of thumb adjustment work there can make the world of difference to the experience of the bike. So we're just washing that down, drying it down with microfiber towels. We use those a lot in all the processes we use the microfiber towels because they're very, very soft and they don't scratch the bikes, and they also absorb water up. Then there was a chain guard here. It would have been originally a chain guard like on the left there. That's long since gone, but the glue debris was there, so we just cleaned that off just to sort of clean that bike up and make it a little bit fresher. Unfortunately, we didn't have a replacement chain guard, but you shouldn't really need them anyway. If your bike's adjusted correctly, there should be no reason to drop a chain. It probably wasn't too important to be on there. Again, the other thumb adjuster, just greasing it up. This was the back wheel that, as you know, we showed where the brake was seizing on itself, not freeing up. We've dealt with that by lubricating and cleaning. You can see here that's now operating as it should, and so we're really beginning to get there now, except for one little minor detail that we actually forgot, which I'll explain momentarily as we go along. Sometimes in the scheme of filming these bikes, we do them over a couple of days usually, and sometimes we get out the groove, you get out your normal groove, your normal rhythm of doing a bike in the shop alters a little bit by doing the filming. But if you're new to the channel, thanks for watching. Thanks to all those people who commented in the last few weeks in the comments about where you are and where you're based and everything else. We thoroughly enjoyed reading the comments. We appreciate you all being here with us, and it's lovely when you're sort of trying to grow a YouTube channel to really begin to understand your audience and speak to people and message people. You know, it's really been part of the YouTube experience that we've really enjoyed. So please do leave your comments, you know, like and subscribe and tick the notification bell and all those things we all ask you to as YouTubers, because it is appreciated, certainly from a small channel like ours. So we're just adjusting everything up now. We've got all the, you know, the rear derailleur, front derailleur, that new generation of front derailleurs on there now. So that's going to operate far better than the old derailleur that was on there that I think was giving him a little bit of shifting problems here and there. We've got that nice new one on. And then we're just going to work our way through the bike with a torque wrench. So you can see how loose these are. None of these bolts we've touched to this point, and you know, they all needed a little pull up and a torque to the correct spec. There was a lot of loose bolts on this bike. So given mileage, over time, vibration, road vibration, eventually there would have been a few nuts and bolts on this bike that would have come loose, which again is a reason why you should get your bike torqued and serviced regularly, just to get all them torque settings correct. Everything on the bike ideal. You know, you want to ride a bike, know that you're not going to have problems along the way. You know, that's what I'm always trying to achieve in the service, is giving someone back an ultra reliable bike. You can see, you know, every fitting, every pinch bolt, even little things like this, we just check them. And then this is our big mistake. You know, I love to get my logos lined up on the wheels. There's a reason for that. If you get puncture and you're out on the road, you can sometimes find the hole in the inner tube and then you're not sure where the debris is in the tyre. If you line everything up with the valve, you know that if the tyre's on, you can weigh up on your tube where the puncture is, and then it gives you a good indication on the tyre, because you know the position of the tyre in relation to the valve at the time of the puncture. So you can also check your tyre, and you know your tyre is either clear of debris or has something in it just by using everything in the same place at the same time. So that's why we always line up the logos on the valves. And as you can see from this bike, what difference, you know, a simple service can make the world of difference to your bike. Nice clean up, freshen up, re-lubricated, and you're ready to go. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week.